Welcome to Retrologic. I'm Dan Caparello, here with John Cummins. And today we're going to be chatting about you, our awesome community and listeners who sent in tons of questions for this community-focused episode. And not just because there's nothing else to talk about, but because we genuinely love you and want you to know how much you're valued. As part of our community and just a listener or whatever you're doing out there, if you're hearing this, then you're listening and I love you. Just know that. Somebody out there loves you.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just speak that into the void and there's love to be had by all. But Retrologic isn't just a podcast. No, it goes beyond the bounds of podcasting, and it's actually also a retro game store and now a cool retro-themed merch store, John.
Yes.
You can go to Retrologic.games to check out our growing inventory of clean, tested, and authentic games, and now merch. Right now, like as of this recording, we have some really cool 3-inch circle stickers that are holographic. They have the logo on them. Shirts will be going up this week, as well as really cool logo themed Super Nintendo controller style pins, acrylic pins. And there's more to come. So just hop on that old Twitter bandwagon at Retrologic.games or go to Retrologic.games, the website, and check it all out. Just go do it right now because it's so cool. John, how was your week? You've been watching more than playing lately, so I'm a little...
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be mad at you about it because you were watching something game-related.
Yes.
But we're
going to have to start a Castlevania, the TV show podcast. Talk about that.
Yeah. Yes. One episode per one episode of the show equals one episode of the podcast. And we'll just dig right in.
I do think it would be pretty neat to maybe after a short period of time, whenever some more people in Discord have had a chance to watch it, maybe have a show about, because the series is complete now. So anybody that's watched the whole show, all 4 seasons, and we could probably have a discussion type deal on it. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Spoiler cast.
Yes, a spoiler cast.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell you what, I have to watch it first. So maybe in like a month or so.
Yeah, no rush. I know.
After everyone's seen it, we can actually have a successful spoiler cast.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in the back of my mind. I'm not going to guarantee that's a thing, but not a bad idea there, John. Not a bad idea at all. What did you play? What did you buy this week, John? What's going on?
My list is shortened down this week a little bit. I picked up WarioWare for the GameCube. Was it Mega Party Games?
Mega Party Games. That's
Games.
My favorite party game on the GameCube right there. It's so good.
I'm getting down. I think the only one I don't have now is Twisted. Maybe.
Man, what is that going for now? Hold on. It's got to be like $100 or something.
Yeah, I think I'm also missing Touched. I think I'm missing Twisted and Touched. I think I have all the other ones.
Yeah, but Touched is cheap. Oh man. Okay. Complete's about $93. Loose is $80. So you're
might as well buy
either
a
way.
Complete at that point.
Yeah. Right. If you can find one.
Yeah, I think I paid like $35 for the disc only on this one. So I just shot a guy. He had an armored card for $45, I think, and I was like, hey, I'll just shoot this guy $35, see if he takes it, and he did. So that doesn't usually work, but every once in a while you can just kind of take a stab at it.
Yeah, and they're willing to get rid of it.
Yeah, a lot of times with disc only stuff, it feels like they're just trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff normally just sits on shelf. From experience as a game store owner, disc only stuff doesn't sell.
Not usually. You can usually get a way better deal on it.
Yeah,
I was at the local and I picked up Pac-Man Versus and Pac-Man World 2. It's the combo pack for GameCube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had it for like $10, so I was like, I like Pac-Man World. I don't know that I ever played Pac-Man World 2 though, so I'm assuming it's more of the same.
Don't know.
I probably have to ask Flightsy. I think he's talked about this one before on Discord.
Okay.
And then in that same store, they had Pokemon Gold, and they were selling it for $35. So I was like, you got me, because I have Silver, but I don't have Gold for the Game Boy Color, the original run.
Nice.
And then
I have Silver. On those. I have Silver, and I have no desire to get both of them. I've actually, as much of a Pokemon fan as I am, I have never played the Johto games. I've never played Gold or Silver.
Really?
And yeah, I just skipped it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I loved Blue, and then Gold and Silver came out, and I was like, no, I don't want to play that anymore. I don't know what happened.
It did feel like, even with all the improvements that the game made, it felt kind of samey whenever they came out. And
yeah, but that would have been fine with me in 1999.
Well, did you play Yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was a thing.
Oh, that's what it was. I was kind of burned out.
I went from Blue to playing Yellow. I played all the way through Yellow. It is the exact same game as Blue almost. And then...
Man, you're right. Because that's so true. Like, I played Blue and Yellow and burned out. And then I played, Ruby Sapphire and Fire Red Leaf Green. And then Diamond and Pearl, and then burned out, didn't play Black and White or Black and White 2, then jumped back in for Sun and Moon. What was before Sun and Moon?
X and Y.
No, that was it. X and Y, and then started Sun and Moon, but I was burned out on Sun and Moon.
I was fairly similar.
I can't do a Pokemon every year. It's not in me.
I played the original generation, all of them. I played Blue and Yellow, and then I bought Silver, brand new. I still have it in the box. That's my original copy.
Wow.
When I think back now, I don't think I ever finished it. I'll have to fire it up and look if the save battery still works. But
okay, yeah,
I don't think I ever finished it, and then I totally skipped. I don't own a copy of Ruby or Sapphire like on GBA, so I don't have any of those.
They're really good.
Yeah,
that's such a good generation.
I skipped those. I tried to buy Leaf Green, or I tried to play Leaf Green. I bought Leaf Green. I don't think I made it very far into Leaf Green either. Totally skipped all the rest of... I skipped DS altogether. I didn't play any DS Pokemon games. I think
Diamond Pearl are really good too.
I think I bought Pearl. I remember buying it at GameStop, and I don't think I made it past the first gym. Put it down.
Well, you have another chance coming up when they remake it on Switch. So
skipped all DS. I've started up on X and Y also, and then mine's pretty similar to yours after that, but I don't know what it was. I really kind of just skipped the DS a lot. Like, I played a handful of RPGs on there, and then the rest of it I just didn't have any. I was playing PlayStation at that time, I think. Kind of jumped over. It was my
right on.
exile of Nintendo.
I don't know how that... I was obsessed with my DS, so I can't relate, but I understand.
Yeah, it happens. You gotta drop off somewhere.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, I bought a copy of Subnautica 1 and 2 for Switch. The Subnautica and Below Zero, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
This looked pretty interesting, and Walmart had it for like $10 off, like right off the bat. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it, and I'm going to try to play one of these games at some point, which I'm not having very good luck. But I noticed this year so far, I've bought like a little to no Switch games. I think it's the least amount of Switch games I've bought in a year since it's released. I think maybe I've bought 8 total. So I've been buying more retro.
Well, that I blame me for that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, just I blame a slow year for Switch right now.
Yeah, it started off, and I mean, if you weren't into Monster Hunter, you bought Monster Hunter, though,
I
right?
did buy. That's one of my few games that I bought.
That was really I'm trying to think if there was a game before that this year, January, February. There was something, but it wasn't. I was not into it. I don't know. I don't even remember what it was.
Super Mario World, 3D World.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So-
because I was done with Mario.
So yeah, I think
I
I've
was super done. I'm still pretty much done with Mario. I don't feel like I can not look at Mario again for another year and be totally fine. So
I think I've bought more from Limited Run, honestly, than I have like
right
a retail store or from Nintendo themselves.
Yeah. Did you end up ordering the Castlevania collection?
Not yet. I'm still debating with myself, which is probably not great, but on whether I should get one of the lesser models of it or actually buy the big guy.
Yeah.
Like, I really want the big one, but I know I'm not going to open it. That's the problem. I have no reason to open it.
Yeah.
I already own it digitally, so whatever I buy is going to sit in a box, just like my Bloodstain games, and just hang out. So I'll have all that stuff, but I won't even be able to look at it.
I'm saving my money for that big fat Shredder's Revenge box they're going to come out with as soon as they announce it.
Yeah, I'll have to buy that.
That's what
too.
I'm saving. A $300 box for Ninja Turtles.
If they, I don't know. It'd be so cool if they figured out a way to make that game run on like a Super Nintendo, and they give you like an actual SNES cart that runs the game.
You know what? I'd be happy with one of those crystal cartridges from the Fire Emblem.
Oh, man, they need to do that more too, because that actually is.
Yeah, big time.
I opened that collector's edition of that game, so maybe I'll buy the Castlevania one and just scatter everything out. I don't know.
You know what I did order though? Hang on, I gotta look it back up because I forgot that I got this. I ordered since were you done?
Yeah, for stuff and the only thing I really played was Pokemon still this week. I haven't played anything else.
Okay. So I played, as I look up this thing that I bought, tonight on stream, I played Demon's Crest.
Yeah.
For the first time.
How'd you like that?
Wow, dude. That game friggin' slams. That game is so good. It starts out, and when I first started out, I was like, oh, this game's impossible. Like, this huge giant dragon boss is just gonna murder me. But like, no, it legit, like, it's not a hard boss. And then once you actually get to the platforming segments and you're like, oh, I can hover indefinitely, it's so fun. Like,
so
maybe it's the ease. It's not like easy, but it's certainly easier than probably most.
Did you make it to a second boss?
Yeah.
Did you make it to the little guy that jumps with the knife hands?
Is that the wizard?
No, he's like a little skeleton guy. He's not even really that threatening looking, but he can leap, and he's got like scythes for hands. And because in this game you can kind of
does he have wings?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you can choose.
Yeah, you choose where you go to. So you could play him in any order, I believe, to a point.
I did 3 bosses. I did the first, like the big dragon guy. Then I did the first boss on that level, and then I went to like the woods level.
Mm-hmm.
So I beat the boss in that level, and I don't remember what he was like.
Yeah, I'll have to look back, because I attempted to play this game whenever it was one of the Retro Rewind games for the Nintendo dads, and I played a little ways and got stuck on that one boss that I was talking about. He kind of jumps just high enough to where you can't jump over him. You can't go under him. So the arc of his jump makes it to where you almost have to take a damage every time he does it. So it's just kind of annoying. I felt like I didn't, since I think he was the first or second boss that I did after the dragon, I almost feel like I wasn't powered up enough. Like I didn't have enough life. Because I think you get extra amounts of life later in the game. I could be wrong. But I just know I struggled. The game gets hard.
It does get hard, but it man, I was having such a blast just doing the wall jumping and the platforming, and it's fun. Really fun.
Like the mechanic where he latches onto the wall is great. Like I like that.
Oh yeah, so well executed, and it feels really good to pull off, and it's easy to do. Yeah, Capcom at its best.
Way better than Ghosts and Goblins.
The other, so much better. The other one that I jumped into on the recommendation of Third Strongest Mole Sam in our community was Vice Project Doom for the NES. Yeah. And another sleeper hit. Like, it throws all kinds of stuff at you, but the platforming segments feel a lot like NES Batman. where like you can kind of switch between weapons, and everything's like kind of a one-hit kill. Really simple, but just very well done and really easy until you get to the second boss, who is impossible. So it's just kind of like easy, and then spike. So need to fix that. But still, and it also has like a really cool story, like a really well-written, just like detective thing going on, with like some really, really beautiful artwork for the NES during the story segments. So I don't know, highly recommend Vice Project Doom. Like if you like NES games, this is a top tier one, I think.
Now you just need to play Eliminator Boat Duel on stream.
Okay, fine.
It's so good, man. You're gonna like it, I promise. It's not your average NES racing game.
I'll take your word for it. The last thing that I ordered was the Legend of Argos Complete History of Rygar Collector's Edition. What it is it's a book that like kind of archives like the history of the Rygar games. It has magazines, guides, and reviews of the era. Some interviews with the Amiga developer, a Q&A with some ROM hackers, and it has it also has these wax pack cards that comes with it that look really cool.
I've seen that
with fan art in it. Like this is awesome, and I'm such a huge fan of Rygar on the NES. And for what, like less than $30, I got that. It was such a no-brainer pickup for me, and I don't normally buy this kind of thing, but I want to do more of it, but just the money right now is a little weird. But this felt super worth it, especially for a game that I love that usually is kind of just like swept under the rug or not forgotten, because everybody kind of knows Rygar in the arcade or in the NES, but just kind of swept under the rug or not really heralded as anything special. But I love it. So that's coming in the mail. It's already shipped. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll probably do some kind of video about it or something when I get it. That was me this week.
That's better news than the Amiibo book that I backed on Kickstarter.
Uh-oh.
You got struck down for I believe some copyright stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What, for Nintendo?
Yeah, I think their font is very close to the actual Amiibo font. So I think they mentioned something about changing the font on the cover of the book, and it should be able to go through. But
sorry, dude.
No, if it goes, it doesn't. I mean, I'll get my money back. Kickstarter has if something like that happens, they'll give you your money back.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, good. So let's jump into the Price is Retro so I can finally win one, huh?
Let's do it.
All right. So if this is your first time listening, I'll quickly go over how we play. I'm going to give you a list of games. It's going to be 4 to 5 games. And in that list of games, you have to guess what the total current value is of those games, of the total of all the games. And then John is going to go, he's going to give his list of games, and I'm going to guess what the total is. And whoever is closest to the actual value wins the game. That's how it's played. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And you can play along at home. You can guess along with us. And if you get really close, you can at me on Twitter at Retrologic.games, and you can say, hey, Dan, beat your score, dude. You suck. And I will say, yes, I do suck. You are the champion. For all to see, I will say that. I promise. So, that's how we play. And, John, why don't you go first?
All right. So the first game on my list is The Lost Vikings for the Super Nintendo Complete.
Why do you do complete? Fine.
These will go either way. There wasn't a whole lot of difference. Rock and Roll Racing for the SNES Complete. I think you see where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Blackthorn for the GBA Complete.
No, you didn't.
I did. And then StarCraft 64 for the N64 Complete.
$460.
$460. All right. The total of my lot is 407. You were almost spot on.
Yes, that is good. That's good. That's pretty good.
All right.
I think I just looked up what those were worth because of the collection. I was like, is this worth it? And it is.
Totally
but
worth
still. It. StarCraft 64.
It's not the ideal way to play.
No, it's not. Certainly is not. All right, my list. We've got Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo, loose. Gargoyle's Quest 2, The Demon Darkness for the NES, loose. Demon Souls Deluxe Edition for the PlayStation 3, complete in box. And Devil's Crush TurboGrafx 16 for complete in box.
Ah, jeez. Ah, man.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that TurboGrafx one scares me.
You asked for it.
Let's say... let's throw out a whopping...
Did you get...
$650.
$650. Did you get the theme, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Thank you. Good.
I like it.
Satanic panic going on over here. $507 is the actual price. So far, John, I'm winning. And we're going to try something new tonight. One of our community members, Philip, our good friend Philip, sent us over a list of all digital games. And I thought, well, you know what? Might as well give it a try. Might as well. Let's see if I can find that list. Okay, here we go. So, John and I are both going to guess. We've got the first game, which is Undertale on Steam.
Okay.
You've got... Oh, where'd I go? Here I am. You've got the game 2, which is Baba Is You on the Switch eShop.
Okay.
Game number 3 is Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix on the 3DS eShop. Okay. Let me add up my guess here.
Is it just those three?
Just those three.
Okay.
He kept it simple for us because it's a new format.
Okay.
Okay. My guess is $55.
Well, dang it, that was going to be my guess. I'll go.
Wait. Okay. Well,
this is the problem.
That's never happened before
with digital.
in Price's retro history. I just want to see if we both got it dead on.
Oh yeah, I mean we can both guess.
We did. We literally both got it within 2 cents. We both got it.
Okay. So
because
that's fine.
We all knew the price of these games to the penny. Oh man, that's funny. I didn't expect that to happen. Man, Philip, I kind of feel bad because that was like, I love the idea of it. I don't know that it fits the show's format per se, but I just love new ideas coming at me and trying them out and seeing if they work. This list in particular, John and I just kind of knew what these games were worth digitally. So, and part of the fun of Price's Retro is that the prices always change. You could have checked yesterday and now the price is different, So if you're not constantly checking, you're going to be bad at the game. It's more of a guessing game. But I really, really love the community input. And Philip, you're one of our like best. You're one of our most active members of the community. And any ideas you guys have out there, I want to hear them and I want to try them. So thank you so much.
So go through the individual pricing.
Yeah, we were both. Well, okay. Let's see how that went. Undertale is $10.
Okay.
Baba Is You is $15, and Rhythm Heaven is $30, and that's exactly what I had.
So I got there either way, but I had Baba Azul and Undertale flipped in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, the total is what matters. So,
and also we didn't go through our individual list either. So what was your list, individual price?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So my individual list, we've got Devil's Crush on TurboGrafx is $144. Okay. Demon's Souls Deluxe Edition for PS3 complete in box is $100. Gargoyle's Quest 2, The Demon Darkness on the NES is $115. And Demon's Crest for Super Nintendo loose, $146. So you were on the right track with the $600 guess, but
I was banking that TurboGrafx game was going to be a little bit higher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was one of the more popular games on TurboGrafx. So there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, not too obscure, the pinball games. Go ahead and do your total.
So. First game is Lost Vikings on the Super Nintendo complete, $72. Rock and Roll Racing for the Super Nintendo complete is $112. Blackthorn for the GBA complete is $51. And StarCraft 64 for the N64 complete is $172.
Man, I was tracking with you pretty close the whole time.
Well, that's good.
Like I was within $20 or $30 with each game. So
you took today's game with a total difference
coming back
$53, and my total difference was $143.
Mm-hmm.
So
coming back, bringing it back.
You're still down by one right now. You'll have to bring it back next week.
That's okay. Well, there's always next week. We'll see what happens. Awesome. Well, good. Well, John, we've got a buttload, an entire butt filled to the brim with community questions and content for the rest of this episode. So we're going to jump right in, and we'll take a break about halfway through because we just had a little bit of a break with the theme song. And so that's what we're going to do. But first, I want to chat a second about our Retro Rewind game for the month of May. Seems like it's been going on forever, but we had Plock Talk last month, so we're doing Retro Rewind this month. Joe and Mac 2 for the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo game. We have our live community podcast recording planned. It is happening on Wednesday, May 26th, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Adjust for your time zone. Registration is required. You can find that link in either the Retro Rewind channel of the Retrologic Discord or in the Retrologic channel of the Nintendo Dads Discord. So wherever your Discord server home is, you can register there. Those are both pinned to those channels, so you can do that. Go sign up if you want to chat some Joe and Mac 2. We're going to do it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. I love this game, so that's that. So, with that out of the way, we're going to jump into our first community question this week. Coming to us from Spidershan. He says, here's a question. What's everyone's thoughts on replacing a cartridge's game label? If a game is legit and runs well, but the label is written on or torn, is it okay to replace it? When isn't it okay? I'm keeping the game for my collection. I realize if I'm keeping the game for my collection, I realize it's fine. But if I decide to sell it later, what happens then? I've passed on a couple games at my local for bad game labels, but I have picked up a few Game Boy GBA games lately online that have worn or faded labels, and I was getting a better deal due to this. So far, the games all work well, so I've thought about getting replacement labels. Interesting.
So, I mentioned on Discord that I have a story about this.
Yeah, go for it.
So, it's probably been 4 years ago or longer now, but I bought a lot of N64 games. And going through the lot, I get a cart for Mario Kart 64. No label. Just has Sharpie, says Mario Kart 64 on it. So this game isn't leaving my collection, so I'm kind of hitting on one of his points. I did buy a replacement label for this cart just because it didn't have one at all, and I wanted to have a label on the cart. I mean, you can easily tell that it's a reproduction label. It doesn't look the quality is not even close to the original. But even that being said, if I was to sell this game, I would mention that it had a reproduction label, and they would also pretty easily be able to tell that it is a reproduction label. And if anybody has any questions on the cart itself, you can always open the cart and show them the original PCB inside. So that's my 2 cents. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Now, if you're, reproducing games and trying to put fake labels on them and sell them, that's a different story. But if it's for your own collection, I don't see an issue with it. And as long as you're upfront, if you try to sell the game that it's a reproduction label, I don't see any problem with it either. They can make a choice at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's very, very, at this point in time, it's very easy to tell a reproduction label.
Yep.
There's really no great way to make your label look like a professionally produced sticker like they had in the N64 in the 90s. That's not something you can do now. It's just never going to look perfect. And maybe sometime in the future they'll find a way to do it, but you can't right now. So if you do end up selling it, just being upfront as a seller is all you have to do. And I mean, you may have to sell your cartridge for little less than what it's going for because of that.
Yep.
Maybe.
Someone might not
depending
care.
on the demand. Yeah, somebody who might not care. And if your pictures are sufficient, then they can make a judgment call then. But just being upfront with the seller, that's really it.
Yeah.
And you might even want to take a picture of your board just to be like, hey, like, this is a legit copy.
Yep.
It has a sticker. Here's the board. That's what I would say. Now, if we get into the nitty gritty about like, is it okay? Like how much of the label has to be ripped or has Sharpie on it to do it? That's personal preference. Like for me, I almost always will prefer a ripped original label to a fake looking label on my game.
I'm the same. Like I said, the only reason I didn't even replace, the only reason I bought a label in the first place is because mine was totally gone. So I mean, it was just a blank gray cart, and somebody thought they were an artist and drew a Mario Kart on the front of it.
Exactly. But I totally see where Spidershan's coming from. Like I would love for all my cartridges to look 100% pretty. Like I clean them to the best of my ability and I'm able to get a lot of stuff off of them. But sometimes they just don't, especially labels. You can't really do much about a drawn on or written on or ripped label. It's just gone.
Yep.
But that is a really great question. We had some community responses too. We had Eric Plunk in the community saying, personally, I can't live with having an unoriginal label, but that's just my preference. I think it's fine to do it as long as you mention that it's a repro label when selling. That's what we said. LDP chimes in. He says, my main concern has been if I ever sell, not knowing which I replaced. I'd be open to a replacement if the label was illegible though. I don't think that's an issue. Like I said, I think you will easily be able to tell the repro stickers.
Yeah.
These days. Yeah.
I'll have to take a picture of my Mario Kart one so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's definitely blurry.
Yeah, do that.
And it's not, you could tell pretty easily. I wish I had an actual legitimate one. I could find a picture on, Google and do a comparison, but you'd be able to tell pretty easy.
Even the best repros you can tell from the label. It's just not the same.
Yep.
$2 Hero chimes in, says, it all boils down to personal preference. I like the original stuff myself. I'm willing to pay more for it if necessary, but do what you're comfortable with. If do what you're comfortable with. That's really what it boils down to, your comfort level. $2 Hero also had a question for us. He says, here's something I've been thinking about lately. What's everyone's stance on playing fan emulated /translated versions of games that haven't been localized or made readily available officially. I don't normally like to play anything aside from 100% legit and official, but there are some cough cough Mother 3 cough cough that I'd really like to play and feel morally weird about. That's a really good question. $2 Hero hosts a really cool podcast, by the way, called All In, a Nintendo podcast. I was a guest on them last week on that podcast, so go listen to that. Go listen to those guys. Those guys are great. He puts on such a great show over there. He pours his heart and soul into it, so I highly recommend giving them a listen. High quality stuff they're doing over there. But as to your question, John, do you have any experience with fan translations or anything like that?
So as of I think it was like last October, I did end up purchasing a copy of Mother 3 fan translated for the GBA.
A cartridge?
Yes, it is a cartridge.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the gray area on this as well. I mean, how old is the original game? When did that come out on the GBA?
Well, let's look it up.
But as he's looking that up, I'm kind of in the same boat as a lot of people where
2006.
Yeah, it's been 15 years. I don't know that at this point we're ever going to get that. So if you want to play the game,
if they were going to do it,
yeah.
They should have done it when they dropped Earthbound Origins on the Wii U.
That's what I'm saying. I think they had plenty of opportunities to drop this game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I think that it's just not going to happen. Like I'm at the point now where I believe this is really the only way you're going to get to play the game. I mean, I could wake up tomorrow and they announce it. And I could be totally wrong, but another thing too, you can get these things for like $5. So I really don't think Nintendo's missing out on a $5 copy of Mother 3 that somebody fan translated. Yeah. You know, it's not like I went out and spent $60 on this thing to get a new copy of it. But yeah, I don't know. I won't do this for every game. There's not very many games that I care to play that have had fan translations made for them. So I don't know. It would probably be the only one I buy ever, but I did want to play the game, so I did do this.
Yeah.
And apparently,
well, and you guys,
I was going to say, so did Marty, apparently, because I sent him a DS to play
it. Well, and you guys know where I stand on emulation. I'm not like 100% like for go play whatever game you want. I think that there are scenarios where emulation is appropriate. This is certainly one of them. There is no official way to play this game in English, so do what you must, honestly. I don't know that I would spend the money on a cartridge. I'd probably just download the ROM.
Yeah, like I said, it was $5.
And I have no...
yeah,
that's right. And I have no moral... There's no moral ambiguity on my end about it, even as much of a stickler as I am, because you cannot play it. There's no official way to play it. Nintendo has shut that door. And I was reading somewhere that somebody had a theory that it had something to do with some problematic like gender neutral or gender swapping like segments of the game that would be pretty like homophobic or anti-LGBT. There's something about it that somebody said this is probably why they're avoiding it, because they don't really want to bring this up and it's hard to translate otherwise.
Something else too, they haven't produced another game afterwards, so like the creative direction kind of went in a way that Nintendo wasn't super thrilled about.
Yeah, I mean there could be 1,000 reasons, but I don't have any moral ambiguity about it. I think you're fine. Seth is his name, the guy who asked the question, and I think you're fine. So go play Mother 3 translated and have a great time and feel okay about it. At this point in the podcast, let's take a little breaky. Let's take a little bit of a break. We've got some more questions to go through before we wrap it all up. But it's break time. So go take a break. Go have yourself a nice little break. Back, and we have some more questions from our awesome community. Marty Estes, the one and only, on Twitter. He asks us, Mega Man or Mega Man X? And why Mega Man?
Why Mega Man?
Answers his own question. Answers his own question. He wants us to choose Mega Man. That's what he's saying. And my answer to that on Twitter was because Mega Man. That's why.
Yes. So Mega Man is Mega Man.
Yeah, and I grew up on Mega Man X more than Mega Man, and then recently played through Mega Man, the original series, the original 6 games on NES, and fell in love with them. So I don't have a problem with either of them, really. Like, if I had to choose one, I would choose X just because that's like what I grew up with and is easier to play for me. None of these games are easy.
I noticed he doesn't have Battle Network or ZX on there.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't do that. Not the Marty I know. What's your answer, John? Mega Man or Mega Man X?
I think I have to go with the OG. I think the original Mega Man games, they just mean more to me than X. I didn't have X, so I was late to playing X.
Right on. Right on. Next up, we have John Blanco from the Dads After Dark podcast. If you want some more mature gaming content, that's a great podcast to listen to. Those guys over there have a great time, and they're super fun to listen to. Dads After Dark, also part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. He asks, name a game that needed an easy mode, and name a game that needed a hard mode. That's a really good question. A game that needed an easy mode?
Plock.
Plock. Solid answer.
Or
I think I would say Majora's Mask.
Oh, come on.
Like, no, there's just a lot in. Listen, I know you're like a savant at that game or whatever. There's just a lot in that game that is incredibly obtuse for no reason. Just things you have to do at the right time. That it's just, and all I want to do is play Ocarina of Time again. So I would have loved a mode in that game where I didn't have to worry about the clock. I know that's like the point of the games. That's heresy.
It breaks the game.
I want to like that game. I don't love it. It's not in my top 5 favorite Zelda games. But I want to like it, so it's like, just give me an easy mode.
Do you have the 3DS
Like, I literally
version?
watched. Yes, but they did that. Yes, I do.
Go back and play it then. It's a lot more tolerable
Fine.
than 64.
Fine, John.
I'm gonna say Contra.
It is more tolerable. Yeah, because the later levels in Contra are awesome, but you never get there.
Yeah, you never get there because you die too quick. Even if you're playing co-op, you can't get past them. And then
this next one's... Go ahead.
I'm going to say Yoshi's Story for hard mode. Like, I wish Yoshi's Story was more like Woolly World.
Even the collectathon sessions of those games are so easy.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't make it hard enough. What game needed a hard mode? Man. Like, there are games that I'm so good at now that I'm like, man, I kind of want more of a challenge. Like, if you put a harder mode in Donkey Kong Country, I'd be down.
Hard. They did.
That's a tough one.
They did that. They made Donkey Kong Country 2.
Yeah.
That's Donkey Kong Country hard mode.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Exactly.
Or Tropical Freeze.
I these days, I don't really want that much of a challenge. Like, I kind of just want to get through my game. I know that's not everyone, but that's me. So I don't know that I would want to add a hard mode to anything per se. Besides Donkey Kong Country. What about you?
I said Yoshi's Story.
Oh, Yoshi's Story. Yeah, that's a really good answer. Good. All right, Mecha Dragon has an interesting question for us. Who is your video game waifu? Basically, who do you have a crush on? That's how I read this, because yeah. So my answer is well documented, well known. You probably already know. If you know who I am, you probably already know who it is. And we are talking about the one and only Crystal Fox from Star Fox Adventures. That's who it is. Yep. I'm no furry, but I will go furry for some Crystal Fox. I'm trying to keep this discussion as safe for work as possible.
We'll have to continue this discussion on Dads After Dark.
Yes, we might have to go on there and guest star and talk about that.
I'm going to choose like Sakurai. I'm going to go with Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And all even right. Over Mithra. Just like Sakurai.
The friendly one.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for that question, Mecha Dragon. We couldn't go into too much detail because we keep this show clean, but I appreciate the question nonetheless. Oh, man. Okay, what else do we have here? Bow. Third strongest mole, our buddy Sam, coming at us with a random question for Dan. Since I know you like Advance Wars, have you ever played Days of Ruin? The last Advance Wars game. I never picked it up because I was upset that they scrapped the game's existing style and characters and sort of blame it for the series falling by the wayside. Am I being unfair to this otherwise good, so I've heard, game? Have you played Days of Ruin, John?
I have not. I think I have it, okay. But I think I've only played the first two games.
Yes. So they took Advance Wars and they went all like mature, gritty sci-fi with it.
Well, they also went like kind of anime with it, didn't they?
A little bit. They made it much more gritty and less cartoonish. I'm also not a fan of the art style, Sam, so I agree with you there. That being said, it's still Advance Wars. Like, it's a really good game. They added some new units and they changed the story around a little bit, so they updated it. And it's not... I think Dual Strike is still better. Like, it's just as far as like a game goes. But it's Advance Wars. It's a solid Advance Wars game. And I don't blame Days of Ruin on killing Advance Wars. I blame Fire Emblem for killing Advance Wars. So that's it's my 2 cents in there.
Man,
Eric Plunk.
I don't even know if you can blame Fire Emblem for that. Like, I think it just seen a steady decline because Fire Emblem didn't really even reach max popularity until 3DS here anyway. Maybe in Japan it killed it. I don't know, but I mean, Fire Emblem would have been running side by side with Advance Wars or Famicom Wars.
I have a question. Why did we get Project Steam, codename Steam, and not Advance Wars?
Oh, those are, excuse me, those are two totally different games.
They're both intelligent systems, and codename Steam, as fun as it was, did not sell. Sold like crap. Nobody wanted to play it. Why didn't you just put the Advance Wars IP on that game?
I think that codename Steam was
I'm bitter.
Yeah, I mean, I think codename Steam was a... I think it was like
mistake.
I think it was an inside. I think so. This was like somebody's pet project almost. Like, and when I play codename Steam, I feel like I'm playing. What is it called?
XCOM?
No, on the PlayStation. Valkyria Chronicles.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's similar to that. Yeah.
To me, it feels like somebody played that.
Do you feel the pain in my voice,
though,
John?
Yeah, I know.
Do you feel the pain in my voice about Advance Wars? I want it back.
Play Fire Emblem.
We have another question here from Eric Plunk in the community. What'd you say? What'd you
Play
say?
Fire Emblem.
No, that's not. It's very much not.
I'm going to buy you a copy of Three Houses, and you're going to play it because it demands to be played. It's so good.
Okay, if I still hate it, then don't get mad at me. Because I told you.
If you still hate it, you can just send it back.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to read Eric's question now. Eric says, if you could choose one system to collect the entire library of and money was no object, what would it be and why GameCube?
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo's a good one.
Chrono Trigger.
My answer's GameCube.
Earthbound. Harvest Moon. So many good games that are like 300 plus right now. GameCube will get there. There's so many good games on Super Nintendo.
Here's part of my thing. If I wanted to download every Super Nintendo ROM on my computer right now, I could just Google it and do it in 2 seconds. GameCube and beyond, like basically Saturn, Dreamcast, and beyond, are notoriously difficult to emulate. And that, so if I'm going to choose a system that I own every copy of a game of, it's going to be something that I can't get otherwise. That's my answer. Although I totally respect your answer, Super Nintendo, because that would be a crazy collection.
Oh man, it'd be, yeah,
insanely expensive.
We'll have to figure out the total game library numbers for both of those and just do a quick comparison at some point.
Oh, I Googled it not the other day, but a while ago.
Because GameCube's got to be pretty low.
And I think Price Charting had like an article on it.
I know the NES is pretty crazy. Super Nintendo is probably pretty close up there with it, but N64 is like one of the smallest game libraries, I believe. I think it's I think it's slightly more than Wii U, maybe. But it's really not very many. N64 is a very small library.
It's not very big, is it?
Yeah, no.
The library has kept shrinking and shrinking until the Wii.
Well, yeah, that's because console sales kept shrinking and shrinking until the Wii.
Okay.
And it was a lot of, in part due to no third-party support, which means you didn't get large libraries.
Right, for sure.
I mean,
yeah, I can't find it
obviously
now.
Virtual Boy, and it's like 15 games or whatever, but there we go. I almost own the Virtual Boy library. I'm only missing like a handful of games.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I would definitely go with Saturn or GameCube.
What about Dreamcast?
Saturn because, yeah.
I'm now making you think.
Maybe Dreamcast or Game. Well, I would say Saturn because I have no experience with those games and I'd like to experience them. But Saturn has become easier to emulate recently, so maybe it would be. Oops.
Someone's entering.
No, I have.
It's in your pocket.
I had the garage door opener in my pocket and I leaned on it. I'm a dum-dum. Because like I want to experience. There is stuff on the Dreamcast that I didn't play, but I played a lot of that library. And the GameCube I just love. It's like my favorite console, so that's why I would do that.
I don't think anybody would say Game Boy because you're gonna get a ton of games that you're not gonna want to play.
Yeah, and easy to emulate. Yeah. Really good question, Eric. Thank you for that. I have a question, and I have a couple of answers from the community. I asked the Nintendo Dads community, if we saw a reincarnation of the Virtual Boy, what form would you prefer? Mini console, Nintendo Switch Online games, some other third thing? That was my question, and we had some really good responses from the community. Third Strongest Mole said, I generally would say that a mini console is unnecessary, but I think to re-release the Virtual Boy, you need something capable of 3D visuals. The best case scenario would be to put them on 3DS, but that ship has sailed. Otherwise, a mini system or Switch release with some sort of peripheral, Labo VR, they could release the Virtual Boy games on NSO and offer 3D viewer the same way they sold replica controllers, or just sell a collection on a cartridge that comes with one. Yeah, that's a good point about maintaining the 3D visuals. I haven't played one in years, so I'm going to refer to John on this one. John, are there any games that would be impossible to play in 2D?
I was trying to think about this earlier. I think Teleroboxer would be pretty tough. But
okay,
the majority of them are going to be pretty playable. In fact, I think I mentioned that. Most of the games are going to be playable 2D. In fact, I know there's people that have recorded Virtual Boy using, just recording one side of the lens. And also recording it in the same monochrome, but losing the red, so it looks more like a Game Boy game. Because these essentially are like a beefed up Game Boy game that,
right?
You get the 3D effect based off the two lenses. But I can't think of, like I said, other than Teleroboxer is probably still playable in 2D. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult. But it's
Red Alarm.
It's kind of like the 3DS, like.
Because Red Alarm, you're like flying through corridors and stuff, and it's all sort of based on.
Yeah, but I still think though you could still play it without it, and it would be more like, I don't know. I feel like Star Fox or something, but to me, I feel like it's more like the 3DS, where you could potentially play every 3DS game without it, but then you have outliers like 3D Land, which. You can play that game without 3D, but it's going to be garbage, and it's going to be very difficult to find all the secret stuff.
Laugher, Jesse, a Nintendo dad, he answers. He says, Labo VR Virtual Console. Even can be enhanced with a real color instead of being monochrome red. Oh, he wants to soup these up. He wants to like go in and make them all Game Boy Color games.
Yeah. I mean, essentially.
And then our buddy Nick over at the brand spanking new Game Pass News podcast, go listen to those guys. Even if you don't have an Xbox, just go listen to them talk, because those guys are super fun. I think Labo is the only real answer. Is anyone interested in playing non-VR version of a game that's biggest hook was VR? I guess for posterity's sake, maybe. Yeah, so he's also suggesting the Labo VR kit to play the Virtual Console games. I think that it would be cool to see like a little selection of them on Switch, playable either in 2D just on the screen, or you can throw on the VR goggles and play them that way. I highly doubt Nintendo's ever going to support that VR goggles again, because they're not like actively selling Labo right now. So unless they do something else, I don't see that happening. But
I think
I want a little Virtual Boy mini console.
That would be cool.
That I strapped to my head.
Definitely not happening.
That's what I want. Oh, totally not. But I'm dreaming here.
I mean, if they made it to where it was with the technology we have today, you could probably almost make it like it's a pair of glasses. Just strap it on your head.
Totes.
But I mean, in reality, I think the real game that everyone wants to play is the Wario Land game that's on there, because it's never been re-released anywhere else. But the other ones are more of novelty. The baseball game, pinball, Jack Bros is probably another
3D Tetris.
Yeah, Jack Bros is probably the only other one that people would want to play, because it's a Shin Megami Tensei game. But like I said, those two titles are pretty much the bread and butter of the Virtual Console. Everything else was literally just a demonstration for the equipment for the most part. And
so they would need to do something kind of special. They would need to do something kind of special to make it like worthwhile, like be able to experience the 3D.
Develop new games for it. There you go.
Ooh, okay. And on that note, that's our show. It was a nice short little romp today. Had some community focused questions. If you want to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at Retrologic.games. You can also hit me up with a DM, or you can post it in the Retrologic Discord, which is open. If you want to send in a list for Prices Retro, you can DM me on Twitter or DM me in Discord, and I will tell you how to do that. John, did we miss anything? Is there anything you wanted to say before we go?
No, not that I think of. I think we covered everything.
All right. Good. Well, then that's our show, guys. Thanks for listening to the Retrologic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, check me out on Twitter and Instagram now at Retrologic.games. You are also more than welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio. You can also find everything Retrologic. We've got our store, our game store. We have our new merch store, which I would love for you to go check out all the cool stuff we have there. We've got the Twitter, we've got the Instagram, and we have the podcast feed with all the links to every podcast service you could imagine, all at the website Retrologic.games. So go check that out. Hit me up. Go play some retro games, for crying out loud.
Do it.
What are you doing? Do it. See y'all next week.
Yep. Bye now. What's that next one?
Marty?
Yeah. Like, what's that go to?
That's his question.
Mega Man or Mega Man X? And why Mega Man?
If it's bold, it's a question. That's, hey, you know what? But that's Marty for you, isn't it? Yes.
Of course.